Hello and welcome to another video. So today what we're going to do is we're going to have a look into what continuous functions are. And we're going to go through a few examples. So what is a continuous function? Well, basically, this is a function that is unbroken, right? So let's say if I have a graph and I have a curve like this, that is a continuous function. If I have a linear graph like this, that is also a continuous function. If I have a parabola, that is also a continuous function. It is basically any sort of function that you can draw without lifting your pen from the paper is sort of the way you can think about that. So let's say if I have the function, let's have a look at another example. So basically every function has a domain, right? A domain. And what is a domain? It's basically all the values that go into a function. So let's suppose I have a function, right, with all the values x, and I have f of x on the y. And let's say you have a curve that sort of goes like this. All the values here are really the domain. And all the values up here are your range. So the range is your y values, right? That is the output of what comes out of the domain. Your domain is the input, right? These are all the values that go into a function. So let's have a look at a function that is discontinuous at some point. So let's suppose we've got f of x is equal to 1 over x take 1. Right, how does that look like? Well, if you were to sketch it, it looks something like this. You'd have a curve going like that, and then you'd have a curve around here going like this. And around about where x equals 1, you'd have what you call a discontinuity, right? That is your asymptote. So, okay, so the function was undefined at x equals 1, right? That is a discontinuity at x equals 1. Why? Because at x equals 1, f of x is equal to 1 over 1 take 1, which is 1 over 0. And anything that is divided by 0 is undefined. Right, so we can say that this is not a continuous function. However, we can make it a continuous function if we restrict it to a certain domain. Now, what is that domain going to be? That is if x is greater than 1 or if x is less than 1. But x cannot equal 1 because that is where the discontinuity exists. So our domain could be x is greater than 1 or x is less than 1. However, x cannot equal 1. So under those conditions, this function f of x, 1 over x take 1, is a continuous function. Right, so that sort of gives us a little bit of an insight of what we mean by continuous functions, and I'll see you in the next video.